words. The first one we want to look at is the word borrower. A borrower takes a loan from a bank, so they get a loan from a bank, and they agree to pay the loan back over time. The borrower pays interest on the loan. A lender is a person or a financial institution could be a bank, it could be a department store, a credit card company, but it's a financial institution that lends money. In return, the lender charges interest in order to earn money from the loan. And then the last one is credit report. A credit report displays an individual's history of borrowing and paying back money. Lenders use this to determine if the borrower is financially responsible. And how much risk there is in the borrower paying them back. Negative accounts remain on the report for up to 7 years. Now that's if, say, you go buy a car and make payments on it. They put that in your credit report that you're not paying it back, and that stays up to 7 years. There's also a personal bankruptcy that if you have to file is 10 years. And that's for personal bankruptcy, which is where you pay anything back if you file bankruptcy. Okay, now borrowers benefit from positive credit reports because they are more likely to get a loan. And not only can they get a loan, they usually get lower interest rates. Sometimes companies even give you, let you purchase with no interest rates if you have a really good credit report. An example is a couple of years ago, I bought some bedroom furniture, and I could have just paid cash, but I went ahead and did paid it through interest for like 18 months. And as long as you pay it off in that 18 months, you have to pay interest. Now, if you don't pay it when like you're supposed to, then they charge you a lot of interest. So you have to pay it off. But your credit report helps you if it's good, and it hurts you if it's bad. So now we're going to look at 4 people, different scenarios. And then we're going to see is a credit report necessary for the situation, and then why or why not. So with Brian, says, I'm planning to buy a new car. I have saved $2,000, but will need to finance the rest. Well, since he's going to finance it with some kind of financial institution, yes, he is going to need a loan. And he's going to get a report probably from the car dealership. So the car dealership will check to see if he can pay it back. Okay, our next scenario is Felicity. I just started earning money by babysitting and would like to open a checking account with the debit card. Well, a checking account is not trying to borrow it from anybody. So no, she isn't borrowing money. And then Hunter I have saved for my college tuition, but will need to borrow some money from my grandparents in order to pay for room and board. So he's going to borrow money, but it's from his grandparents. And hopefully, his grandparents aren't going to make him get a credit report pulled. So no, he is borrowing from his grandparents. And the last one is Darius. Says, I'm new in town and he is completing an application to rent an apartment. Well, the apartment complex that he rents from is going to want to know, can he afford it, or has he skipped out on paying other things? And so, yes, the complex or the apartments, the apartment manager will check to see if he can pay. Okay, so let's take a minute and let's look at what a credit report might look like. An example of one. Take this one. It's Jacob Michael Rose. The first part is personal information, has name, date, address, employer, other names that he goes by. For example, my daughter, I call her Lexi. Her name is Rama, so that might be listed. Social security number. And then the next section is potentially negative items. In other words, things that will hurt his credit. This one looks like it's a credit card, and it says the 60 days past due on that. And it tells the amount that he owes as well. And then things that would help your credit is if you pay on time. And this one looks like it's an automobile auto financing. So he probably bought a car and he's never late on those. The original amount was for $8,000. And then we go to the home mortgage, bought a house, and they're never late on that. And it says they still owe $98,000 on it. And then it just lists the company that's looking at the report or requesting it. So let's look at these 4 questions here and let's see if we can come up with some answers. It says, what type of accounts do you see on credit reports? Well, we just looked at credit cards, car loans, anything that you get a loan from, mortgages. And if you're not sure what a mortgage is, it's just a loan to buy a house. Okay, and that's what's listed on this one. And then it says what personal information is available on the credit report. Well, on this one, it gave their name, their social security number, birthday, address, and employers. And it also gave you if you went by another name as well, but those are the main ones right there. And then in which section would a foreclosure appear? Well, a foreclosure is taking something back. Like, for example, if they foreclosed on your home, I mean, the bank is going to come in and take back that house that they gave you the money for because you didn't pay it. And so that would be a negative thing on your report. And if it's negative, remember the section that said potentially negative items. And then what institutions would fall into the request for credit history? Well, any lenders would fall in that category. Anybody that's going to loan you money is going to want to know if you can pay it back. And if you have too many things, say you have a certain amount of income and you've got a ton of things that you're paying, it might affect your history, your credit history, whether they'll loan you money or not. So some examples of lenders would be banks, credit cards, mortgages, buying a house, buying a car, so car dealerships. Um, any department stores. I talked about Haverty's, anything. Best Buy would do something like that if you were to buy appliances. They sometimes give no interest if your credit's good. And so these are things that are important to learn about when you get older. You don't want to go out and have bad credit because it stays with you for a long time. And if you want to get those low interest rates and better deals, then you need to keep your credit history clean and good and high ratings. Okay, that's the day, guys. Hope you guys are staying in. Please stay in, stay well. You practice health habits. Wash those hands, guys. We want to see you as soon as we can. We miss you.